And good evening to all, ladies and gentlemen. To all, good evening. I've titled this video today, um, What's My Future Plans? Will I go to Chicago or San Diego? We're going to talk about that here a little bit today. It's really nice and cool right now. The weather is beautiful still here in the nighttime. Here in El Paso, Texas. Well, we got some stuff to talk about here today, and to get into. Hey Brent, how you doing, my friend? My tea time was good. I had a nice green tea. It's always good to drink coffee or tea. Coffee and tea helps with digestion. I guess there's caffeine, whatever that's in there, but it's always nice to drink coffee and tea before a meal, during a meal, or after a meal. I usually like to drink a coffee or tea after a meal. You know, how's everybody doing today? I did some research today on my laptop, and was looking at the different border cities between here and Tijuana. Very interesting. Again, there's a lot of positives about El Paso, Texas. Really, there is. Even the weather now is really quite comfortable during the nighttime. But, you know, I'm not really a early bird person. But even until now, and we're in mid-April going into May, the weather is actually really nice in the nighttime here for van life. If it wasn't, I wouldn't have been here. And, you know, in the daytime it gets hot and toasty. There's not much shade to go around because there's not many trees. So, there's been some times where I haven't been able to get good sleep because of the sun and no shade. But by the same token, I've been trying to sleep earlier. And it really doesn't get hot until maybe about 11 a.m. As the sun slowly gets hotter and hotter. So you're good till about maybe 11 a.m. And the bottom line is, like I said, there's a lot of positives about El Paso, Texas. The people here, for the size of city that it is, are really friendly. And there's a lot to see, there's a lot to do. The prices are pretty decent overall. I'm sure they were more decent years ago on food and housing before the pandemic and all that. There's just a lot of positives here about El Paso, Texas that it's hard to beat. It really is. So, anyways, as you guys all know, I have an interest in Mexico and visiting every border city basically between Mexico and the United States. To put it in a nutshell, I've been researching these border towns between here and Tijuana. The next border town that's west of El Paso is a town called Puerto Palomas. It's a little bit off the beaten path. It's not off of I-10, but it's there. And I've heard some pretty good things about it. And then way west of that and south of, actually you have another town I believe that's called Agua Prieta. That's west of Puerto Palomas in the desert. It's another border town And then way, way west of that and south of Tucson, due south of Tucson, you have the town of Nogales, Mexico, which has a variety of nightlife and girls also. And obviously you go west of that, you have the towns that I have been to before. You have San Luis, Colorado, Mexico. You have Los Algodones, the dental capital. And then west of that, you have Calexico. I believe is it Calexico, California, or Calexico, Arizona? I'm not sure. You have the other town that's it's obviously you have Mexicali, which is around Calexico, California, El Centro, California, around that area. How you doing, Stan? Nice to see you, brother. And I've been to those towns. Haven't spent that much time there, but I've been to them. And then obviously you have the granddaddy of them all, Tijuana. How you doing there, Stan? Nice to see you, brother. Where you at? So, in a nutshell, Stan, you can get the companionship of a beautiful woman here in Ciudad Juarez, and really for $25 to $35. I mean, it ranges anywhere between $25 to $100, depending on the circumstance. There's a lot of beautiful women for a bargain price. Houston, Texas. Very cool town, my friend. A lot of good food, a lot of fun, a lot of energy. Houston's a cool town. I like Houston. Houston, Texas. Yes, I do. Houston is a very cool town. Houston is a very cool town. It's a lot of good food in Houston. Yep. You got to look up all those Middle Eastern places. Fatty's Buffet, Demisi's Buffet, Darban, Iranian Shish Kebab. There's Goody's Barbecue. They got a lot of good food in Houston. A lot of good buffets. A lot of good Middle Eastern food. Yeah, Houston is a real good food town. Okay, that's cool, my friend. Hope you got a safe trip, my friend. But anyways, guys, I just want to let you guys know in a nutshell. I've been thinking about what I'm going to do, and like I said, I still have a lot of time. I think that in the next week or so, I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do. It's a possibility that I'm going to go to San Diego, but I don't know. I always wanted to make the trip and see what was going on. And it's really not too late to do that. To get a preview of what's going on, you know. To figure out what's going on. But like I said, El Paso, Texas has been a learning experience for me. It's giving me a preview into really delving deep into what it's like to go into Mexico. Is giving me a real education. And there's still a lot more for me to see and explore in Ciudad Juarez, Mexico. How you doing, Tim? Nice to see you. So, in a nutshell, it's all up in the air, you know. It's all up in the air. I think that taking the time to really get to know Ciudad Juarez was a good idea for me, because it is a massive city, and it really gave me a preview and an education of what it's like to do business in Mexico, and maybe even eventually to live in Mexico. On the cost of fuel, yeah. Well, fuel, that's the thing with fuel. The more you go west, the more fuel goes up. And that's the situation with fuel, you know. And I was pretty fortunate on my trip down here. The fuel prices were very good. They went down, but they're still much higher than they were when I got here. So, but I really hadn't planned to stay here that long. I thought I was going to stay here until just a month or so was my original plan. And I ended up staying here a long time because there was a lot to learn and see, and there still is a lot to learn and see for the bullet points that I wanted to do. And like I said, it's given me an education, a preliminary education on doing business in Mexico, on possibly living in Mexico, and given me an idea of what's going on. You know, and that's the bottom line with that. So, if I go to San Diego, I might get a job and spend a couple months there, or if I see that the urban camping, if I see that the urban camping situation is difficult in California, or if it gets too hot or humid, then I'm definitely going to go back home to Chicago. That's the possibility with California. Or I might just not go to Tijuana at all in San Diego. I might just drive back to Chicago directly from here. That's the other possibility. Well, people know that I am a security officer. I've been a security officer well before I became a YouTuber, and that's what I've done for a living, and that's what I'm going to continue doing for a living. It's because I have a lot of experience in it and a lot of confidence, and I know the business, and I like the business. I like a lot of things about the business, and I like sticking with the same field, something that I'm knowledgeable in and have, I like that. Not that I doubt anybody that gets into variety, but when it comes to making work and making money, it's nice to kind of stick in the same field that you're in, that you're familiar with, because you're going to do better and you're going to get better and hone your craft. And not that it's difficult for anybody to be a security officer, but I've been doing it for a long time, and I've learned a lot about the industry. And And there's a lot of things I like about it. And the more that I think that in life, don't get me wrong, variety is the spice of life and learning new things and experiences, but sometimes you got to stick with something that's tried and true, and something that you're familiar with and something that you can get better at. And when you've been doing something such a long time, you kind of go back to what you know. And sometimes the unknown is kind of scary. Like right now, I'm very comfortable here in El Paso because I've got to know my way around town. I've got to take the time to really figure things out here. And I feel very comfortable. I feel very safe. And that's because I've taken the time to learn what it's like to live here in a van, what it's like to go over the border in Mexico and do business. And the more and more I familiarize myself with it, the more and more that I feel comfortable, which is a great peace of mind. When you're out there and you're out on the road and you go to a new town and you don't know what to expect, it's always a learning process. And it's fun, but you have to have the time and the money for it to do what I do. And you have to have a camper van. That's the bottom line, or any van. It doesn't have to be a Class B, but the bottom line is, in order to learn towns and cities as a nomad, you need a little bit of money and you need a lot of time. And that's what I had, and that's what I had the opportunity to do. Have you ever checked out the pay, and the same as Chicago, if you hit the same kind of work? Well, the pay widely varies a lot depending on the site that you go to, but I've seen that right now most of the pay rates for unarmed security officers, particularly in the Chicagoland area and in the San Diego area, they range anywhere between right now, really, the average pay is about $15 to $18 an hour, depending on where you go. That's pretty much the going rate in San Diego and in Chicago. Now, you could, you could make more money if you do armed security, but that's a lot of responsibility. I never really had a interest in that. And obviously, it's all about the cost of living. So if you go to, let's just say, Portland, Oregon, Northern California, Santa Rosa, San Francisco area, Washington State, the pay rates there are much higher, well, a little bit higher than Southern California. I mean, they can range anywhere between $18 to $25 an hour, in that range, even unarmed. So it's all about the cost of living. It's all about the cost of living and what you get paid. And Massachusetts is known to have a very high pay rate. So the bottom line is, when you're doing the van life and you're doing what I'm doing, it's very hard to get everything right. When I mean everything right, having the right kind of weather, having the right kind of pay, and having the right quality of life. And it's getting harder and harder and harder to urban camp in urban areas. The weather is getting hotter and hotter. The reliance on a generator and air conditioning is becoming more and more prevalent. And really, that's why I think that as far as being a full-time van lifer, it's not becoming practical anymore because of the cost of fuel and the heat and the difficulty parking and the difficulty not being able to find shade and not being able to park in an urban area because of restrictions from private businesses and all that. So it's getting harder and harder to do what I'm doing as an urban nomad. Every year, it's getting much tougher. So that's why eventually I wanted to figure out and settle on a place, maybe pay to stay at an RV park for a time being, and eventually probably just getting an apartment and seeing how that is. An affordable apartment. I don't think anything is affordable in Southern California, so El Paso would be a better option. But again, if the weather is van lifeable in Southern California, which I don't know because I really haven't experienced the summer there, that would be the way to go for me. I just don't know really how it is there. And it's all about experience, it's all about trial and error. But to me, I don't like heat and humidity. I don't mind cold if it's not too cold. I mean, I don't mind temperatures in the 30s and 40s and all that, but I don't like heat either. So life is all about trial and error, especially when you're doing the van life. You learn certain places you like, certain places you don't like, and like I said, every year this life is getting tougher to do because, like I said, the restrictions on parking on public and private property, the situation with the homeless and people living in cars and tents, and the crime, and if it's safe in an area, if it's close to where you work. There's a lot of variables in doing this, and I can say and I can vouch that every year as I do this, a lot of places where I was able to park before, I can't park there anymore. I've been told not to park there, and so every year is getting tougher to do this, especially in an urban environment, and that's just the bottom line, and that's quite a challenge, and it's not easy to to keep on doing. And like I said, the other big problem with the van life, what's could you inquiring the summer rig during the summer months, say running the AC at night for 48 hours? Well, ever since I've lived the van life, since August of 2015, I had almost 2,000 hours on my own generator. This generator that I have now, the Bearcat, God knows how many hours I have on there. I've ran the generator 8, 9, 10, 12 hours a night, or in the day sleeping. So a generator is the most important thing for me for heat or for air conditioning. Obviously a rooftop air conditioner also, which I fixed mine and it works fine. But like I said, every year it's getting hotter because whatever the world is going through, global warming, whatever the deal is, that's what I've noticed, that every year it's getting hotter. And the winters are getting colder and the summers are getting hotter. And that's more reliance upon fuel, more reliance upon a generator, more reliance upon a air conditioning and heating source, therefore making the life more difficult. You're at the mercy of all that, and that's the bottom line, and I've had to rely on that many times. So this August is going to be 7 years that I'm doing this life, and I didn't know how long I was going to do this, and I think that anyone could do the van life, but the most important thing is the weather when it comes to doing this, and that's the bottom line, that's the bottom line. It's the weather. Weather is very, very important when doing this life. And there have been some difficult times for me over the years, especially in Florida and Chicago. I face heat, I face humidity, I face cold, and it's not fun and it's not easy. It's not a bowl of cherries. And getting the right temperature for comfort is not easy. And that's what I've learned doing this life. Like right now, for example, my refrigerator is getting old. It's not working very well. But the freezer works okay, so I've got my food stored in the freezer. This refrigerator is old, but it still works, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's weird. It doesn't work very well when it gets warm. It works well, really well when it's cold. I'm surprised that the fridge is even still working. So, I think, after doing this life, the most important things to have doing this life is having a working good refrigerator, freezer, having ability to cook your food. But if I'm back, give me a 69. How much fuel does it run to run out the AC? Well, good question. It all depends on your generator. I remember when I used to run the Onan generator, I could run on 3/4 of a gallon for 10 hours or so, 8 hours, whatever it was. With this generator, I'm not getting the best mileage. I mean, I'll probably go through 3 or 4 gallons of fuel on a 11, 12-hour run, but it's a bigger generator. It's 3,600 watts, and it does the job, but it's not the most fuel efficient generator, but I can run it without refilling it for at least 10 to 11 to 12 hours. So that's great about it. And the generator needed a break, and it's got a break, and and that's the bottom line. So, but anyways, guys, give me a 69 if you guys can hear me. But like I said, I love the van life and I love doing this, but yeah, I think it holds about maybe 4 gallons of fuel, somewhere around there. But I think that this year I've got to figure out an alternative. What I mean, an alternative to van life, that I've got to figure out where I'm going to settle down at. I've got this thing with, nice thing about El Paso is it's a nice place to live. The cost of living is cheap, but the pay is very low. And when you go to San Diego, the pay is much better, but it's really expensive to live there. And is it doable in a van in the summertime? I don't know. In Chicago, the problem is the pay is okay. It's a little bit on the lower end for a city its size, but it gets starting to get really hot in the summertime there, and then it gets really cold, and it stays cold for a long time. So that's the problem with it, is the weather, So the only way to really do the van life and do the van life properly is to move around constantly. And that's the only way to get over on weather. And sometimes when it's hot, you really can't get away from the heat. There's nowhere really to go. So, weather is becoming more and more difficult to deal with. I've been fortunate that I've had really, really good weather here in El Paso, and I still have good weather. And the amount of fuel that I've saved has been hundreds and probably thousands of dollars on fuel, not running the generator, not having to run the generator, and prolong the life of the generator. And so I've been fortunate. I've been fortunate, I've been fortunate as far as that. But like I said, you can never get a place that's perfect, right? Life isn't perfect. It always has challenges. And what's the happy medium? Where is there a happy medium? I guess your happy medium is having money in the bank and having time on your hands and having a motorhome or a van or whatever and being able to explore life. Um, the way that I see it, um, you got to have money and you got to have time to be happy in life. And van life makes that available and possible, you know. And that's the bottom line. It makes it available and possible to be able to do that. It's not an easy life to do. I can take a shower at a gym, a nice shower. I can sleep in my bed reasonably comfortable. But what I do miss mostly about having an apartment is being able to have your climate control, being able to not have to worry about getting a knock on your door. Not that I've experienced that a lot, but obviously the most thing that I miss about living in the sticks and bricks life is just your climate control, that you're able to control your climate better. You know, you're that one thing that I miss, and I miss having a full kitchen and being able to cook healthy, good meals in a nice big kitchen. Not that I'm able to do that in a van, but it would be nice to cook outside, and sometimes the weather doesn't allow that, unless you're in a good area. But cooking outside takes a lot more time because you got to take everything outside and the preparation and everything. So it could be a little more time consuming. But those are the two things that I miss about apartment life. Yeah, having your climate control, having a big kitchen. But you can solve that really if you just move along with the weather and you have a little bit of money and time on your hand. You can get better weather in van life and then be able to cook outside. Well, I enjoy cooking outside. If that's your thing. But yeah. Well, like I said, you can never get a perfect place, but I know one thing. I really like El Paso, and I hope that my goal in my life, every year that I learn about a different place, I want to visit all the Mexican border towns and just keep on learning and visit Tijuana and learn a lot about that, and visit San Diego and learn a lot about that, and then come up with an end conclusion of what's the best for me, as far as what I'm doing. What are some of your goals you want to do in 2022? Well, that's a good question, Tim. I think that really, I don't really necessarily have any particular goals. I think eating healthier, losing weight is important for me. I think also, I would say that that would be my number one thing, and also just trying to maintain my van and everything. But as far as something that would stand out is I want to be able to figure out a way, hopefully maybe to move my mom out of Chicago. And my two places of choice would be either El Paso, Texas, or San Diego, California. If it's possible, it's not an easy thing to do. There's a lot of variables, but I would say that would be my goal. That would be one of my goals that would differ from any other year. Is trying to figure out a way not to have to go back to Chicago. Not that Chicago is a bad place or anything. It's just that I have no more interest in it. And I'm not saying I'm going to be able to do it or if it's going to be easy. Anything is possible with will and determination and wherewithal. But doing what I'm doing now, I guess it kind of works out with Chicago, because the weather's not that hot over there. There are some hot days here and there, but it's been a scorcher. Last year was really bad. I think that maybe my life is designed the way it is because living the van life is good for me, and I'm able to juggle weather and van life and going back and forth. And maybe in the long run, it's just better to keep things the way they are. But sometimes when you want to make a change, change is also good. It was a good thing that I came to El Paso this year. Would have been a huge mistake for me to go to Florida like I usually do. I was very, very happy not to go to Florida. And I think after this trip to the desert Southwest, I don't think that I'll ever visit Florida in Lisa Marie anymore. Would I ever take a flight to Florida and go and see something? Well, really it's far-fetched. I think that my definite interest is the Mexican border towns in the desert Southwest and Los Angeles and San Diego and stuff of that nature. I think it's always fun to learn about a new place, you know. And I don't regret spending all the time here in El Paso. I don't regret learning about it. Because the more that you learn about a place, the more that you get confident, and the more that you realize if that place is for you or not. You realize all the pros and cons. And it's a good thing to do that, to be able to take the time and learn about things. And it opens up your mind. It opens up everything, you know. And that's how I've always liked to do it. When I go to a place, whether I went to Miami or Atlanta or Houston or wherever, just learning about different places. And you can get an idea of what a place is, say within a month, but when you go into spending 2 or 3 months in a place, you really get to know a little bit more. And that's just, I guess, my style. I like to learn about places, and that's the bottom line, you know. I got 2 cats looking at me here, stray cats. One of them is a black cat, the other one's kind of mixed. But they're kind of observing me. Yep, the cats are out. The cats are out of the bag. Let's see. How do you decide whether you park overnight when you're not used to that town? Well, that's a good question. It's trial and error, really. I'm gonna put my windows up because these cats are kind of freaking me out, you know. They got a really like a weird vibe to them, you know. Yeah, they got a really weird vibe. They're kind of creepy. They're putting that kind of a weird vibe. Creepy vibe. But that's a good question. Yeah, when you're in a new town, parking is really a trial and error. You know, you really don't know until you try it. And really, a lot of times, you don't know if the area is safe or not. And you know, you just don't know. Yeah, this one cat was hiding under my van, and then it ran away when this car came by. There's a lot of cats out there. There's like 3 cats. One of them's a black cat. The other one's kind of mixed. There's another one. There's a lot of cats out tonight. But like I said, life is trial and error. You just try and you take your time, and you know, and you learn and learn and learn. You learn and learn and learn the differences. You know. Um, like I said, I've always been interested in learning about San Diego, and now the more that I see Los Angeles, California. Los Angeles is a scary city, and but there's a lot of things to see and do in Los Angeles, and that's been a town where I've always been wanting to learn about, and the more and more that you see it on YouTube and stuff, Los Angeles has always been an interesting town. And Phoenix is another place to explore. A lot of the Syrian people live in Phoenix, and that's another town to explore. So many places to explore and see. Denver, Colorado. Albuquerque is a pretty scary town. From when I was there, very bad vibes. One thing I can say, I feel really safe here in El Paso. I feel comfortable, and it's a great town. It really is. If nobody's ever been here, it's a great place to visit, and really great place. And like I said, in a nutshell, I think what gives anyone a great experience is when you visit different places. It opens you up to the world. It opens you up to the possibilities. It opens you up to your happiness. It opens you up to learning. And a lot of people don't really get a chance to do that. They don't get a chance to travel because they're so committed to the routine, you know. And I think the van life has really given me a lot of opportunities to really explore and to see what's going on. And ever since I visited Mexico, I started to realize I like it more and more and more. And I started to realize that, you know, I want to learn more about it, you know. So with that being said, folks, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pop on out of here. I want to live the happiest life that I can live. And I know a lot of people, you know, they badmouth California and the high cost of living, and I understand that. But they're talking about California from a perspective of living a sticks and bricks life. If you can live in your van in California, and if the weather is doable, and you can stash your money away, that'll be a whole different story than living a sticks and bricks life. That's the bottom line, folks. You know, I know what to expect in Chicago. I know what to expect here in El Paso. I know most of Florida. But I also have that desire to seek the unknown. What is Phoenix like? What is Los Angeles like? What is San Diego and Tijuana really like? And the more and more you just open up your mind, and you open up the possibilities, and you open up what it's like, and to compare. And I'll be honest with you, I've been to a lot of places in this country. I've been to a lot of different places. And by far, I've really enjoyed El Paso in many, 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 many aspects. and it's been an eye-opener for me. It's been a preview into Mexico, and it's been an eye-opener for me, you know. It has. And that's about it, folks. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pop on out of here. Hope you guys have a good night. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do yet. I need more time to think. Hell, I might need another month to think. I don't know, man. I'm in a zone right now. I'm just in a zone, in a time of my life right now where I'm just in a zone. Maybe I just needed to get it out of my system and go to Tijuana and San Diego, spend some time there and see what it's like. And get that experience, immerse myself a little bit, and get a more of a proper preview to see if it's for me. Not that I would know in a week or two, but maybe I just need to get that out of my system. You know, maybe I just need to get that out of my system. You know, just because that was my original intention and goal. And I guess if I do that, then I can say to myself, well, you know what, I did it, and it's out of the way. And gosh darn it, I did it, you know. And I won't have any regrets. Or I can just say, I'm going to play it safe and just go back home to Chicago and do what I kept on doing. It's kind of a tough decision to make, but it is what it is, folks. It is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and pop on out of here. I hope you guys have a good night. We will speak again at another time or day. I haven't been able to get a hold of my mom. It's really hard to get a hold of her there at the nursing home. Really hard to get a hold of her, but I've been told she's been doing okay. I need to focus at one thing at a time and not multitask. There's some things that are on my focus now that I'm focusing on, and a couple of things that are holding me here. And those things might hold me here for another month or another week or two, who knows. I think I'm going to stay here as long as the weather is nice, which hasn't been that bad. And I still have some things on my bucket list here to get done. And then I got to figure out what I'm going to do. You know. Any way you look at it or slice it or dice it, when you make a decision to get on the road, you have to be prepared for what you're going to do. And preparation time, folks. It's preparation time. You have to be prepared for your decisions that you make, you know. And I think God has something for me. And I'm going to know, I guess, the next week or so what I'm going to do. And what my direction is going to be. I'm going to know eventually what my direction is going to be. Eventually I shall know. And take it from there, folks. Maybe San Diego is the place for me. But it's definitely going to be between I would say that right now, when it comes to alternative places besides Chicago, the cities that I'm definitely interested in are probably going to be El Paso, Texas, Phoenix, Arizona, or Tucson, Arizona, obviously San Diego, and Los Angeles. But I would say that really my top three are going to be El Paso, San Diego, and Los Angeles, California. Again, you don't know unless you go and see. You don't know. You don't know. But anyways, guys, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pop on out of here. I think in the next week or two or so, I'm going to know what I'm going to do. And I just got to go out and do it, folks. That's the bottom line, That's the bottom line. How you doing, Janice? I'm about wrapping it up here. Been on her for a long time. Not that long, but I've been on her for a while. I'm going to go ahead and pop on out of here, folks. Hope you guys have a good night. I'm going to go ahead and, I guess, get to my boondocking spot somewhere, wherever that's going to be. And hope you guys have a good night. I'm going to wrap it up. I've been on her for a while. Just, I guess, talking, trying to figure out what my options are. I need to make a decision. When I make a decision, stay focused upon what that decision is going to be. And that's the bottom line, folks. Have a good night. We'll talk to you guys later.